Hi everybody. For today's lesson we're going to be talking about pedigree charts. A pedigree chart is a diagram that shows how traits are passed through a family tree. So when you're making a pedigree chart, you always have to look at it like a very specific set of symbols. For example, every time you see a square, you're looking at a male. Circles will always represent female. Whenever the circle and the square are connected with a horizontal line, that means that those people are together and they have children. The children are shown with vertical lines here. So here we have our first generation, and then this is our second generation. All right. We also see that some of the circles and squares are shaded in, and some are left, just white. All right. If they're shaded in, that means that they have whatever trait you're looking at for this pedigree chart. All right. If they're not shaded in, that means they do not have the trait that you're looking for in the pedigree chart. If they're half shaded in, it probably means that they're a carrier for the trait, or that they're heterozygous. They have one dominant allele, one recessive allele. Right? You can't always count on the pedigree charts telling you, though, who's heterozygous. They don't always give you these half-shaded symbols. All right? So the best way to learn about pedigrees is just kind of go through one together. So let's take a look at this pedigree chart here. All right? So let's say that we're looking at the trait for being lame. All right? So the people who are shaded in have this horrible genetic condition of being lame people. Alright, the first thing that we need to figure out is being lame a dominant or recessive trait. Alright, and the clue that we want to look for here lies with David and Alice. Alright, here these two people are not lame. In fact, they're awesome. Alright, however, much to their surprise, these two awesome parents have a lame daughter, Marie. All right. The only way that you can have two parents that don't have this condition that shows a child that does have the condition is that the condition has to be recessive, and therefore we can give Marie the genotype little a. All right, and therefore we know that this has to be a recessive trait. Again, the parents don't have this trait yet; they have a child that does. That's our evidence that it's recessive, right? So now anybody else who has a shaded in symbol like Marie, we can also give them the same genotype, little a. All right, so Jill is lame, Frank is lame, Joan is lame, and John is lame. Right? Everybody else in this family is going to be awesome. All right, so we can go ahead and give them at least one capital A for being awesome. Now, what we need to do is figure out what that second allele is, because remember, for every genetic trait, you have at least two alleles. All right, one that you got from mom and one that you got from dad. All right, so if we look at Bert, all right, we know that Bert is awesome. That's why he's a big A. But we got to figure out what that second allele is. Is he big A, or big A, little a? Well, Bert has to be big A, little a. Right? And that's because we know he got the big A from his mom, Anne. Right? But his father, John, only has two little A's, and he's always going to pass one of those two little A's onto his offspring. And that's why Bert's genotype is going to be big A, little a. Norris, right, Bert's younger brother, is also going to be big A, little a, for the exact same reason. Right? And then he has Anne and John have a daughter, Sue. Right? Big A, little a, again. Big A from mom, Anne, little a from John. Alright? Now, Sue's going to marry Fred. Alright, and they have children. Right? But because Fred is not related to Anne and John, we actually don't know what that second allele is. So we're just going to put a question mark there. Alright? Now, Alice, though, is the daughter of John and Anne, and therefore received that little a from her father, John. Right? David, like Fred, kind of married into this family. Right? However, even though we don't know David's parents, we can look at his children. And because Marie has two little A's, Marie must have got one little A from Alice, and the second little A must come from David. So David has to be big A, little a. Right? When you look at Janine, right, which is in the third generation of this family, right? So Janine is the granddaughter of Anne and John. She has to have a little a, which she got from her mother, Joan, right? Frank and Jill, we already established, are little a because they're lame and shaded in. We also see that in addition to being lame, they're also twins, which is why you have this kind of like angle right here. Right. Now, George and Tom, even though we know what their parents are, or we know at least what some of their parents are, as far as their genotype, we don't know if Sue and Fred passed on like two big A's to George and Tom, or if they passed on a big A and a little a. We just don't know. There's not enough evidence there, so we're going to give them question marks as well. Likewise, Luis and Janice, right, they're going to be question marks because we're not sure which of these two alleles, dominant alleles or recessive alleles, Alice and David passed on. Right? So, the only one we have left now is Anne, and she's going to be the question mark as well. Alright, she most likely is going to be big A because she has 4 children that all inherited a big A from her, but we just can't be for sure. So this is as much as we can fill in this pedigree chart for this trait of being awesome. So what can you learn by making a pedigree? Right, you learn how genetic disorders can be inherited, alright? Are they sex-linked? Are they autosomal dominant? Or are they autosomal recessive, right? This one happened to be autosomal recessive. If it's sex-linked, you're looking for something that occurs more usually in males than females, right? You can also learn that if you have a genetic disorder in your family, how likely you are to pass on that trait to your next generation, right? So that's it for today's lesson, guys. Thanks for listening. Bye.